Last week, I was sitting in my truck outside this overpriced coffee place in downtown Austin holding a vanilla latte I didn't even want staring at the foam like it might give me answers. And yeah, I was pissed. Not just mad, not just disappointed. I mean deep chest tightening, jaw clenching, what the actual F asterisk asterisk K is happening to my life kind of angry. Let me back up for a second. A year ago, I thought I had it pretty good. Marissa, my wife, ex-wife now, I guess, and I had been married for nearly 9 years. Two awesome kids, Olivia's 7 and Max is 5. Smart, funny, think fart jokes are peak comedy. I'm a firefighter here in Austin. Grew up in a small Texas town, worked my ass off, made it through training, and eventually got promoted to crew leader. Love my job even when it breaks me. It matters. Marissa, she's a UX designer at some bougie tech startup. Makes good money, stylish as hell, always on trend. Think lots of boho neutral aesthetic yoga mats and BuzzFeed articles about boundaries. We weren't some picture-perfect couple, but we were solid or so, I thought. Had our arguments, sure. Usually dumb stuff like her leaving her matcha spoon in the sink or me tracking Ash into the house. But we laughed. We loved each other. We built a life. Or I built one. She curated hers. Then the shift started. Subtle at first. She stopped complaining about work, stopped venting about annoying meetings or how Dylan, her boss, was a walking TED Talk in a Patagonia vest. Suddenly, Dylan was inspiring, emotionally intelligent, a great leader. I should have caught it right there, but I was tired. I'd pulled 24S, come home to chaos, and just wanted peace, not some TEDx praise session over quinoa salad. And then the book started showing up. Stuff like Conscious Uncoupling Modern Love in the Age of Autonomy and some weird-ass hardcover titled Love Without Clinging. I remember thinking clinging you literally sobbed when we lost the remote for a week. 3 months ago, she dropped the bomb. I want to try a LAT marriage, she said one night while we were folding laundry. I thought she said latte, swear to God. I even asked if she meant we should grab coffee more often. No, she said dead serious. Living apart together. It's progressive. A lot of couples do it in Europe. Now listen, I'm not some backwards dude stuck in 1952. I go to therapy. I cook. I cried watching Encanto. But when the woman you built a life with casually suggests dismantling it like it's a weekend project, your soul does something. I just stared at her. And she was so damn calm, like we were deciding between takeout or cooking. I did what any guy would do in a panic spiral. I Googled the hell out of LAT marriages, read everything. Reddit threads, academic papers, some Dutch article I had to translate. Most of the people trying it were either retired or living in different countries. Not two parents with school drop-offs and pediatrician appointments. But okay. I played it cool. Played along. Why? Because I've been around enough fires to know sometimes you don't fight the smoke, you find the source. So I said, sure, let's talk logistics. I opened a spreadsheet, like full-on joint custody tabs, school transportation planning cost breakdowns. I went CFO on her emotional startup. I even had a dating expenses column labeled Postmodern Emotional Reinvestment Fund. Thought I was being funny. She did not laugh. She froze. She stuttered. She backtracked. Apparently, her vision of this modern boundary-honoring lifestyle didn't include real numbers or actual parenting plans. It was more like, you stay here. I find myself in a trendy one-bedroom near my boss. We vibe. The kids adjust. Netflix renews us for season 2. Nah, F asterisk asterisk K that. That's when my gut kicked in. She mentioned a specific complex Canyon Oaks. I knew that place way too fancy, barely kid-friendly. 1 bedrooms, rooftop pools, valet trash. More influencer than mom life. So I called in a favor. My buddy Darren, his sister's a leasing agent there. Sent her a text. Real casual. Hey, anyone from UX Design Co. apply recently? You already know the answer. Dylan, her boss, lives there. And guess whose name was on the emergency contact for a newly approved lease? Yeah, not me, not her sister, not even her own damn mom. Dylan. I didn't explode. Not yet. I'm not the kind of guy who flips the kitchen table. But I felt it. That burn behind your eyes when someone insults your intelligence and expects you to smile through it. So I started watching. Quietly. Collected everything. texts, iPad messages, Google Calendar invites labeled SyncWalkW/D. She got sloppy, or maybe just arrogant. At the same time, I started connecting dots. All the nights she stayed late or needed space. The sudden gym obsession, the new perfume, the shaved legs in winter. Yeah, it was textbook. But what really cracked me? Our daughter asked me a question. "Daddy, is mommy gonna live with her laptop now?" She was joking, half asleep, said it while brushing her teeth. But damn, kids know. They always know. The night after that toothbrush comment from Liv, I just sat in the garage in the dark. No punching bag, no music, no beer. Just me, the dog, and that awful quiet where you can hear your own blood rushing in your ears. I stared at the spreadsheet again, the one I'd shown Marissa. Honestly, I wasn't trying to scare her with it. I was trying to make her think. Make her realize this freedom came with a whole lot of mess no Pinterest article warned you about. But she didn't blink. That's when I knew she wasn't thinking about us at all. She was planning an exit rehearsed, coordinated, sanitized. Probably something Dylan workshopped during their synergy lunches. And that's when my fuse hit the gasoline. The next morning I made eggs for the kids like usual, packed their lunches, and dropped them off. I kissed Max on the forehead. He wiped it off dramatically like always. Olivia gave me her squishy half hug like she does when she's trying to be cool. Normal dad stuff. Then I drove to the leasing office at Cypress Trail, the apartment complex right near Tessa's place. Yeah, Marissa's older sister. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, I wasn't trying to hook up with her. Not then. It was strategic. It was psychological. Marissa assumed I'd roll over, maybe crash on a buddy's couch, or beg her to slow things down. She didn't think I'd turn it around and move on first. So I toured the place, signed an interest card, asked about month-to-month options. Let them know I'd need a unit with 2 bedrooms, full custody prep, I said deadpan. Then I went home and told Marissa. I wish I could capture her face. She was mid-sip of her cold brew when I said I'm thinking of getting a place near Tessa's. Closer to the kids' school and my shift rotations. Makes more sense. She blinked, tilted her head like a confused golden retriever. Tessa's side of town, that's way far from Canyon Oaks, she said. I just nodded. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Then silence. Not angry silence, calculating silence. She didn't expect that move, and she hated not being the one holding the cards. A few days later, I overheard her on the phone with Nova, the relationship expert from her yoga group. You know the one. Divorced 4 times, wears a crystal around her neck like it's a degree. Marissa was pacing around the house whispering stuff like, he's not supposed to take this so calmly, and maybe he wants to move on. Damn right I do. I didn't react, just took the dog out like I didn't hear a word. But inside, I was lit up. She didn't want a fair co-parenting plan. She wanted freedom with benefits. Space from responsibility while still playing the role of modern, enlightened mother. Nah, you don't get to ghost your kids for a Pinterest fantasy and still expect Father's Day photo ops. A week later, the school had a parent-teacher night. Marissa said she couldn't make it because of a late sprint meeting. So I went, alone. And guess who else was there? Tessa. She showed up because Olivia had asked her to. Apparently, Liv had been texting her, which floored me, and said she felt weird not having a mom there. Tessa stepped in, no questions asked. We sat together in those tiny plastic chairs, looked at drawings, talked to the teacher. Tessa cried a little when Liv handed her a picture that said, "Auntie is love." Meanwhile, Marissa posted an Instagram story of a charcuterie board and the caption, "Self-care isn't selfish." Yeah, try telling that to your daughter. Later that night, I told Tessa about the apartment thing. She just nodded, said, "You've always been the one who showed up." And then she said something I haven't stopped thinking about since. You're doing all the parenting, all the cooking, all the damage control. She's treating this like a sabbatical from accountability. She wasn't wrong. Marissa noticed Tessa was around more. One night, she straight up asked, "Why is my sister calling you?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Because she actually cares what happens to your kids." She didn't like that answer. Stormed off like I was the one betraying someone. The irony, I hadn't even brought up Dylan yet. I was saving that. You don't just drop your ace card during the first shuffle. Then came the Florida moment. See, our anniversary was coming up. I had secretly booked a 7-day beach trip months ago. Full oceanfront suite. Grandparents lined up to watch the kids. I had planned everything back when I thought we were still us. Now, I casually brought it up during dinner. "Hey," I said, "what do you think I should do with the Florida tickets?" She looked up from her salad. "What tickets?" "The ones I booked for our anniversary," I said, sipping my water. "Thinking maybe I'll transfer them. Seems like a waste not to use them." She choked on her kale. "You booked a trip for us." "Yep, but now I figured, I don't know, maybe you'd rather take Dylan." Boom. She dropped her fork, just stared at me. "Dylan, he's just my boss." "Oh, just a coincidence. You listed him as your emergency contact at Canyon Oaks." Her face, pale, silent, busted. She didn't even deny it, just sat there shaking. Whispered something like, "That wasn't what I meant. It's not what you think." But you know what? I didn't care. Not anymore. I said I'll be at Tessa's for a few days. Let me know when you're ready to have a real conversation, preferably with a lawyer. Then I grabbed my bag and left. I stayed at Tessa's place in the spare room for 3 nights. She didn't ask questions, just made space. Helped with school pickups, heated leftovers, listened. We never crossed a line, but the comfort, the calm, the way she respected my role as a father, it was like breathing real air again. Meanwhile, Marissa spiraled. She called my mom, called my captain, told everyone I was emotionally unstable. Classic gaslight blitz. Too bad I had receipts. See, cousin Emily is a family lawyer. She'd already helped me quietly pull Marissa's rental app. On it. Marital status single. Emergency contact Dylan S. Dependents listed none. None. Like her own kids didn't even exist. Emily said that alone was enough to set up primary custody with supervised visitation. I didn't want it to come to that. But Marissa made the choice for both of us. At the next family meeting at her parents' house, we laid it all out. Me, Emily, the evidence, the screenshots, the school emails, the canceled anniversaries, the just a mentor Google Calendar invites. Marissa tried to cry her way through it. Her mom cried harder. Her dad looked at her like he didn't recognize her. Then her mom turned to me and said, "Whatever's best for the kids, we'll support." That meant the world. Not because I needed validation, but because they saw it too. That night, Marissa sent me a 3-page letter apologizing, begging, promising therapy, saying she'd cut off Dylan, cut off Nova, cut off Instagram if I gave her one more shot. But she still didn't get it. It wasn't about Dylan. It was about trust, about being a parent, about showing up when it's hard, not just when it's aesthetically pleasing. I didn't respond. Just added the letter to the custody folder. And the next day, I booked the Florida tickets in Tessa's name. No, we didn't plan it. But damn if it didn't feel like peace. A few days after the family meeting, Marissa tried the "I'm healing now" routine. She posted one of those Instagram carousels with muted colors, sad quotes, and pictures of her hugging a mug. You know the type, oversized sweater, some half-baked caption like, "The hardest battles birth the strongest warriors." Girl, you listed your boss as your emergency contact and forgot your own damn kids. Anyway, I didn't engage. Not online. Not through texts. Not even when she tried to send uplifting co-parenting reels about modern separation success stories. I was busy. Busy moving my stuff into the new place near Tessa. Busy building a room with bunk beds for the kids. Busy living, basically. And Tessa, she was around a lot more. Still never crossed the line, not officially, but we were talking more. She started coming over to help with homework, cooking, random Target runs. The kids loved it. They lit up when she came through the door. Marissa noticed. One Friday night, she showed up unannounced at my new place. No warning, just knocked. Said she needed to see the kids. I told her it wasn't her night. She said they're my children too. And I said cool. So where were you when Max had a fever and I was juggling a 24-hour shift and a parent-teacher conference? She tried to push past me. I didn't let her in. She stood there crying in the hallway while Liv peeked around the corner holding her stuffed dinosaur. I wanted to scream at Marissa, but I didn't. Just told her calmly, "This is what you chose. You don't get to choose it and still show up like nothing changed. She left. The next morning, I got a call from Emily, my cousin lawyer. Apparently, someone had tried to modify the custody agreement without our consent. Filed an informal appeal for joint and equal parenting rights, citing emotional sabotage and alienation. Guess who? Marissa had lawyered up. Except her lawyer was some dude Nova recommended, a divorce-positive advocate. I looked him up. His firm literally had a podcast called Uncouple and Thrive. Bro had a man bun in the headshot. Yeah, okay. Emily filed a response within an hour, attached the rental form where Marissa declared herself single with no dependent, screenshots of missed pickups, and a fun little transcript from her recent Healing Circle live stream where she said, "Sometimes, as women, we have to choose ourselves even if it confuses or upsets our kids." Poetic, huh? But it didn't stop there. A week later, shit hit the fan at her job. Remember Dylan? The oh-so-inspiring boss. Turns out he was already living with his girlfriend, a serious one. The kind that goes ring shopping and coordinates dog adoption schedules. And she found Marissa's texts. She walked into their office during a full-staff Monday sync and dropped a folder full of screenshots on Dylan's desk in front of HR. Marissa was there. So were 5 of her team members. Word spread fast. One of her coworkers, who also follows me on Instagram, Small World, messaged me. "Yo, your ex-wife's life just exploded in the middle of a Miro board demo. Dylan's girlfriend went full scorched earth." HR put both of them on immediate leave, pending review. When Marissa called me sobbing that night, I didn't pick up. She texted, "Please, everything is falling apart." I stared at it for a long time, then typed back, "You should probably call your emergency contact." Didn't hit send. I just blocked her instead. Here's the thing, people don't tell you about revenge. Sometimes the best kind isn't loud. It's quiet. It's stable. It's letting the world unravel around someone while you keep showing up for your kids and making pancakes on Saturday mornings. Liv and Max, they were thriving. I took them to the zoo, let them build a blanket fort in the living room. They started calling Tessa their bonus grown-up. Max asked if she could come to his karate belt ceremony. I said yes. He told Marissa over FaceTime. She went silent. Then said, "Is there something going on between your dad and Aunt Tessa?" Liv rolled her eyes. "Aunt Tessa helps. You don't." I swear to God, I didn't script that. But I sure as hell screenshotted it for the custody file. A few days later, Marissa's mom texted me asking if I was open to reconciliation talks. I asked for me or for her. She didn't reply. But I found out through Tessa that Marissa had tried to move back in with her parents. They said no. Apparently her dad told her, "You abandoned your marriage and tried to abandon your kids. You don't get to walk back in like a teenager who missed curfew. And I don't care how bitter or salty you are, that stings." So now she was couch hopping between friends. One of those friends being Nova, who, according to local gossip, was also in the middle of being sued by another ex-husband for encouraging abandonment under spiritual duress. I didn't even know that was a thing. Marissa's life had become one long bad decision dressed up as empowerment. Meanwhile, I was just over here, doing bedtime stories. Then something unexpected happened. Tessa and I were cleaning the kitchen one night, Max and Liv asleep on the couch, and she said real quiet, "This is the most at peace I've felt in years." I didn't respond at first, just wiped the counter. Then she added, "I used to feel guilty for how much I saw in you even when you were with her." That stopped me cold. I turned to look at her. She wasn't crying, wasn't angling, just telling the truth. The kind of truth you keep locked in a drawer for years because it's too dangerous to touch. And honestly, I felt the same. We didn't kiss, not then, not yet. But we stood there for a long time, shoulder to shoulder, not saying anything. And it felt like breathing for the first time in months. When Marissa found out which happened because she snooped Liv's iPad again, she lost it. Voicemail after voicemail. "You were supposed to wait. You manipulated my sister. This is so gross." I didn't reply. But I did send all those voicemails to Emily. Family court loves context. The thing is, I never cheated. I never strayed. I didn't build a secret emotional life while pretending to be a spouse. I was just there, present, picking up the pieces. And she left a void that Tessa never asked to fill but did anyway because someone had to. The last text Marissa ever sent me before the judge finalized everything was, "I still love you. I just didn't want this version of life." And you know what? That made me sad. Not because I missed her, but because it was such a perfect summary of what went wrong. She wanted the idea of love, family, motherhood, but not the 3 a.m. fevers. Not the kids with peanut butter in their hair. Not the nights where we sat folding laundry and talked about nothing. She wanted magic. I showed up with real life. And now I've got 2 kids who run to me at school pickup, a quiet house with cereal bowls in the sink and laughter echoing down the hall, and a woman in my life who never asked to be center stage but stood by me anyway when everything fell apart. That's not revenge. That's peace. And sometimes peace is the best kind of power there is. The morning of the final court date, I woke up at 5 a.m. without an alarm. Didn't even need coffee. My nerves had been buzzing for hours already. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to Max snore softly down the hall, and just breathed. It was surreal. After everything, the lies, the manipulation, the performative Instagram healing, today was the day it all got real. No more, maybe no more, let's talk later. Just legal signatures and consequences. Tessa drove me to the courthouse. We didn't say much in the car. Just held hands at a red light, the kind of quiet support you can't fake. Marissa showed up 20 minutes late. Hair still wet, dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept for days. She avoided looking at me the whole time. She had some clipboard holding assistant with her, probably someone from Nova's crew, trying to make her look like she was taking control. Didn't work. The judge didn't even flinch. They read through the evidence file like it was a grocery list. Rental app with false info. Emergency contact listed as Dylan. Screenshots of missed pickups. Proof of job termination due to workplace relationship. Voicemails berating me for moving on too fast. Instagram captions that contradicted her legal claims. Even the judge raised an eyebrow at that last one. When the custody ruling came down, it was quiet. Primary custody me. Supervised visits her. No overnight guests during parenting time. Mandatory counseling and parental fitness course before any modifications. Case closed. She didn't cry in the room. Didn't yell. Just sat there, rigid lips pressed together like she was holding back a scream. After it was over, I walked outside feeling lighter than I had in months. Tessa was waiting by the bench with a thermos of coffee and a bag of those peanut butter pretzel bites she knows I love. She stood when she saw me, didn't ask anything, just opened her arms. And I swear that hug fixed something in me. Marissa texted me the next day asking if she could come by to talk to the kids. I told her sure, under supervision during scheduled visitation. She didn't like that. Said I was being cold. Said I was using the court against her. I replied, "I'm using the truth. You should try it sometime." She didn't respond after that. The kids took the change better than I expected. I thought Liv would ask more questions, demand more answers. But she didn't. She just started drawing pictures of our house with 3 people in it, me, Max, and her. Sometimes she'd add Tessa too, always with a smiley face. Max, on the other hand, was still working through it. He asked one night, "Why doesn't Mommy live with us anymore?" I took a breath and said, "Because sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt people. And when that happens, the best thing we can do is make sure the people we love feel safe." He thought about it, nodded, and went back to building a Lego tower. I sat there watching him, thinking this is what Marissa walked away from. Not just me, but this. The small, messy, real moments. Then came the part I wasn't expecting. About 3 weeks after the ruling, I got an email from Marissa's dad. Just one sentence. "I'm sorry for what she put you through. We're ashamed." That hit harder than I thought it would. I didn't need their approval. Never asked for it. But after years of feeling like I was the one holding it all together while Marissa played the golden child, that email felt like confirmation. Like they finally saw the truth too. Tessa saw me reading it and said, "You okay?" I handed her the phone. She read it, then handed it back. Then she said, "You earned every word of that." We started dating officially a month after that. Yeah, we took our time. Yeah, we had long talks about the optics, about what it might mean for the kids. But at the end of the day, she was already there. She was already family. The only difference was now I didn't feel guilty for loving the person who had been showing up for me all along. The first time Max called her my other favorite grown-up, she cried in the pantry so he wouldn't see. Liv just said, well, she already kind of lives here anyway, and kept eating her cereal like it was nothing. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. Marissa spiraled again when she found out. Left a voicemail that started with, "You are disgusting," and ended with her sobbing about how she lost everything. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to Emily for the file and then took the kids to the park. A few months later, Marissa asked if she could talk things through over coffee. I told her I didn't owe her coffee or closure or conversation, but I agreed mostly because I knew this was the final piece. The last bit of weight I needed to drop. We met at some trendy cafe she probably picked for the lighting. She looked tired, like the life had been drained out of her. She kept fiddling with the sleeve of her sweater. "I didn't mean for things to go like this," she said. "Yeah," I said. "That's kind of the point." She looked up at me, eyes rimmed red. "Do you hate me?" I paused, thought about it. "No, I don't hate you. I don't feel anything about you anymore. That's worse, isn't it?" She flinched. Then she said the one thing I wasn't expecting. "You're happy now, aren't you?" I nodded. "Yeah, I really am." She looked down at her coffee like it might explain why that wasn't her anymore. When I got home, the kids were making paper crowns with Tessa in the kitchen. There was glitter everywhere. Max had glue in his hair. Liv was sticking foam stars on the dog's tail. I just stood there watching them laugh, and I thought, this is it. This is the life Marissa was too busy chasing shiny things to appreciate. It's not perfect. It's not Instagram-worthy, but it's real. And it's mine. We ended up using those Florida tickets after all. Tessa and I took the kids, just the four of us. 7 days of sandcastles, ice cream, too much sun, and not enough sleep. Max got his first sunburn and made me carry him around for a whole afternoon like a baby sloth. Liv made a seashell necklace for Tessa and called her Queen Bonus. One night after the kids were asleep, we sat on the balcony with 2 cheap margaritas and watched the waves. Tessa said, "You think she ever really loved you?" I shrugged. "Maybe, but not the part of me that stayed when things got hard." She nodded slowly. "That's the part I fell in love with. And that's the real ending, I guess. Not some explosive revenge, not some dramatic confrontation. Just peace, stability, a quiet kind of justice that lives in morning routines and bedtime kisses. In the way your kids don't flinch when they mess up because they know you'll still love them. Marissa still tries sometimes, sends emails, makes offers, says she's changed. But I don't even get angry anymore. I just see her for what she is. Someone who chased a version of life that was prettier on paper than it was in person. And by the time she realized what mattered, it was already gone. Last week, Max brought home a drawing from school. It was our family hymn, Liv, Me, and Tessa. We were all holding hands. The son had sunglasses. The dog had a cape. Typical 5-year-old logic. At the bottom, he wrote in big, clumsy letters, "My home is strong." I taped it to the fridge. Then I poured myself some coffee, walked outside, and watched the sun come up over a backyard filled with chalk drawings and tricycle tracks. And I thought, screw the Pinterest marriage. Screw the conscious uncoupling. Screw the therapy speak used as weapons. You want real love. It looks like this. Messy, loyal, unfiltered, and finally free. It's been almost a year since everything imploded. 1 year since the "let's live apart together" conversation. 1 year since I found out my wife was basically writing a romantic slow burn with her boss behind my back. 1 year since I traded emotional landmines for sticky juice cups and after-school spelling tests. Funny how fast peace can grow when you get out of your own way. These days, life's not perfect, but it's solid, it's real, and I'd take that over perfect any day. Marissa's visits with the kids are still super nice. She fought the terms for a while, tried to appeal, claimed she was being cut off from her children as punishment for personal growth. Court didn't buy it, neither did the kids. Max stopped asking about her altogether. Olivia sees through her now. She still goes to the visits because she's kind-hearted and polite, but afterwards she always says the same thing when we get back in the car. It's weird, Dad. She smiles too hard, like she's trying to be someone she's not. And she's right. Marissa shows up to visits like she's going to a photo shoot. Full makeup, perfect outfit, self-help quotes in her planner. But there's nothing behind it. Just empty Instagram-ready moments with no muscle to hold them up. Meanwhile, Liv and Max come home and immediately run barefoot through the yard, or start fighting over who gets the blue bowl for cereal. That's the real stuff. Tessa and I, we're doing good. We kept things quiet at first, didn't push labels, didn't post photos. Just let it be what it was, two people who'd been through hell in parallel and finally let themselves feel safe. But one night a few months back, I came home late after a call, still covered in soot, exhausted, and she was on the couch with the kids watching some ridiculous cooking show. Max was asleep on her shoulder. Liv was braiding her hair while talking nonstop about a frog she saw at recess. And I just stood in the doorway, sweaty, reeking of fire and ash, and I felt this insane wave of calm. Like, this was it. This was home. The next day, I asked her to move in. She said yes with tears in her eyes and a laugh in her throat, like she'd been waiting for me to believe it too. Max called it the upgrade. Marissa didn't take it well. She found out through a PTA mom. Of course, she still follows all the school gossip pages even though she barely shows up. Left a voicemail the length of an audiobook. Accused Tessa of stealing her family, said I was replacing her and that the kids were confused. No one was confused, Marissa. You replaced yourself. You stepped away. You chose space and self-actualization and a luxury apartment near a married man who didn't even pick you back. I just kept being Dad. A few weeks later, she tried to get cute with the narrative. She posted one of those long Facebook notes with pastel backgrounds and vague language stuff like, sometimes life takes you away from the people you love to help you find the person you're meant to be. It got like 5 likes, one from Nova, one from some MLM lady who sells collagen gummies. Meanwhile, Liv made a slideshow at school for a My Family project. She asked if we had any pictures of me and Tessa from when we were kids. I said, why would we need those? And she said, because when I tell people you used to be my aunt, they get confused. I laughed so hard I nearly cried. She just shrugged. You guys are happier now. That's what matters. Every now and then, Marissa still tries to play the victim card. Tried to tell my mom that I weaponized stability and made her look bad on purpose. My mom, who's seen every court filing, every missed visit, every therapy note, just said, honey, no one had to make you look bad. You handled that yourself. Honestly, that was the end of it for her. Marissa's parents, though, still complicated. Her mom sends the kids cards on birthdays and holidays. Her dad, the man who once scolded me for being too soft when Marissa yelled at me during a BBQ, apologized to me in person. Said he didn't know how much I was holding together until he saw her fall apart without me. I told him I appreciated that. That it didn't erase the past, but it helped. And it did. Tessa and I got engaged last month. It wasn't fancy. No flash mobs, no drones. Just us sitting on the back porch after the kids went to bed, stars overhead, dogs snoring at our feet. I handed her the ring box and said, "You've already done the hardest parts with me. Want to keep going?" She cried. I did too. Max told everyone at school the next day and apparently said, "My bonus mom is going to be official now." Liv told her friends, "It's like a reboot of Our Family, but better." Kids are poets when they're not even trying. Marissa showed up at the next visit with a stack of books and a journal, said she was working on healing. I told her that was great. Told her I hoped she meant it this time. Told her if she ever truly wanted to rebuild any piece of a relationship with the kids, it was going to take more than therapy jargon and vegan muffins. It would take presence. She said she understood. I'm still waiting to see it in action. The real closure, though, it didn't come from the courts, or the custody plan, or even the engagement. It came one Saturday morning when I found Max and Liv sitting on the kitchen floor building a Lego city, arguing about who got to own the fire station. I said, "Why not co-own it?" And Max, dead serious, looked up and said, "Because she can't show up to meetings." Liv cackled. Max went back to building, and I had to leave the room for a second because I was laughing and crying at the same time. Kids see everything. So that's where we are now. A family that was broken but not destroyed. A man who got betrayed but didn't become bitter. A woman who left and is still figuring out what she even wanted in the first place. And a sister who never asked for the role she ended up playing but stepped in anyway. Quietly, without ego. With more love than I ever thought I'd get again. Tessa says our love isn't flashy, it's earned. She's right. It's made from glue-stick school projects and birthday candles and late-night Target runs. From hard conversations and even harder forgiveness. From staying when it would have been easier to leave. It's the kind of love you don't post about because it's too damn sacred. And Marissa. Last I heard, she's in a new city, trying to start over again. Joined a wellness collective or something. Still chasing herself through every identity that sounds like healing but never sticks long enough to grow roots. I wish her well. But mostly I wish her truth. Because the thing about trying to find yourself is you've got to sit still long enough to face the parts you hate too. She never did. Me, I'm just a dad. A man who makes pancakes and takes too many pictures at soccer games. Who spent a year dragging his heart through broken glass and came out whole on the other side, not because of revenge, but because of clarity. And Tessa, she's more than the sister of my ex. She's the calm after the storm, the love I didn't know I deserved. The one who showed up when it wasn't romantic or glamorous or even convenient. We're getting married next spring. Backyard wedding, small guest list, kids in the wedding party. Dog gets a bow tie. Liv says she wants to give a speech. Max just wants cake. Same. So if you're still reading this hoping for a fiery, petty ending, sorry, not here. No big public blow-up, no courtroom mic drop, just a slow, steady build towards something better, stronger, more honest. Because the best revenge is becoming the version of yourself that no one ever thought you'd be brave enough to become, and living like you never needed their permission to begin with.